So, do you ever feel stuck with your creative career? Do you ever feel frustrated when building your arts-related business? Well, if so, I'm going to share with you what I consider to be the number one question you should be asking to get what you want out of life and out of your creative career. This is The Creative Entrepreneur, Season 2, Episode 4. Hello, it's Bob Baker here. Yes, what to do when things don't seem to be going your way. When you don't like exactly how things are unfolding. Well, I'm going to address that and what that number one question is in just a few minutes here. But first, I want to tell you about a couple things that are fairly timely. One, you may recall, if you've been following me for a while, that last year in 2014, I did a fan funding campaign for a new book that I was planning on writing called The Empowered Artist. Well, I'm in the very final stages of writing that book. In fact, I'm so close, it's already available for pre-order on Amazon in 13 countries. And I'm just really thrilled the way this book has come together. It's one of the most inspired works that I've ever written, probably one of the most important resources that I've ever published, because it addresses some of the rock bottom core issues that creative people of all kinds face. And that would be fear and uncertainty and confidence and the value that you bring to the world. And so I'm really excited about this new book. So if you're interested, I will have links in the show notes to where you can find out more about that and where you can place your pre-order. And then it officially gets published on April 21st of 2015. So depending on when you're listening to this, it may already be officially available. But if not, it's very close. All right, for the rest of this episode, I'm going to share with you a section from the audiobook of my book called The DIY Career Manifesto. And in this section, I actually relate a story from my own life during a period of time when I was doing stand-up comedy, the early days when I started doing stand-up comedy, and how I created a circumstance that gave me a lot more stage time. It deals with this whole thing of creating the circumstances that you want instead of just complaining about what is. And so I'll just go ahead and play the segment for you. I hope you enjoy it, and then I'll have some final words on the other end. Enjoy. Principle 2. Ask this question to create the circumstances you want. One of the traits that keeps people stuck in traditional work-life ruts is an affliction I like to call helpless victim syndrome, or HVS for short. You've probably been infected with this scourge at one time or another yourself. I know I have. This disease is evident when someone takes a look at a current situation and incessantly points out what's wrong with it, who the perpetrator is, why it's so bad, and how things will never change for the better. Complaining, blaming, and victimhood are all wrapped up in one ugly little package. I saw this classic human curse in full force when I was 25. There was a time of my life when my creative pursuits exploded, as I mentioned earlier. After years of playing music and doing a little writing on the side, I branched out into doing theater, video production, and even stand-up comedy. There was only one comedy club in town at the time, the Funny Bone. The only opportunity for newcomers to get stage time was the Tuesday night open mic night. Live comedy was booming in the mid to late 1980s, so there were a lot of amateurs showing up for a limited number of open mic spots. If you were lucky, you might get on the Tuesday night lineup 3 times a month, and you only had 5 minutes for your open mic set. That equated to 15 minutes of stage time for the entire month to hone your craft. Not the optimal way to learn and grow as a comic. Would you like some doom and gloom with that? Most of the open mic performers complained about the comedy club, the entire local comedy scene, how they were getting shafted, and on and on. I was frustrated by the lack of opportunities too, but I chose not to go down the HVS rabbit hole. Remember, it stands for Helpless Victim Syndrome. Instead, I embraced the attitude of this quote from George Bernard Shaw. Quote, People are always blaming their circumstances for what they are. I don't believe in circumstances. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, make them. Unquote. So what I did was ask a more empowering question. What do I really want out of this situation? Think about the power of that simple question. What do I really want out of this situation? When you're in HVS mode, your focus is all about what's wrong. The more you think about why the situation sucks, the more you firm up the lens through which you view that aspect of your life. The thicker your suck filter gets, the more dirt and muck you see. But when you shut down the HVS suck filter response and replace it with, what do I really want out of this situation? A whole new world opens up to you. And this new world view will help you immensely as you strive to build a DIY career ideally suited for you. Anytime you encounter a circumstance you don't like, it's the perfect time to ask that pivotal question. Making the shift. So back in my open mic comedy days, when I asked, what do I really want out of this situation, the answer was obvious. More stage time to hone my comedy craft. That led to the next logical question. How can I get more stage time to hone my comedy craft? A question like this is empowering. It's mind-expanding. It compels you to uncover solutions and not wallow in the sewage of what's wrong. I knew that more stage time at the Funny Bone was probably not an option, but I started brainstorming about other local venues where I could perform. Then it hit me. A few months earlier, I had visited a bar called Off Broadway in South St. Louis to see a friend who was a bartender there. During that visit, she introduced me to the owners. It was a nice place with a cool vibe. It had a stage that featured live music on weekends. But like many venues, it was struggling to get bodies in the door on a regular basis. So I contacted the owner and asked what they did on Wednesday nights. As it turned out, nothing. So I proposed an idea. What if I organized a weekly Wednesday night comedy show at Off Broadway? I would MC and get some of my open mic buddies, who were also looking for more stage time, to come and perform. It wouldn't cost the venue a dime. We would charge a $5 cover, and I would get all of that door money. The bar would simply supply the space and the staff, which is something they did anyway, usually with few people in the room. It was a no-brainer for the venue owners. Yes, they said, let's do it. The result? For about a year and a half, I hosted a weekly comedy show at Off Broadway. Sometimes we had good crowds, and other times it was sparsely attended. But over those many months, I got lots of stage time, developed new material and song parodies, and paved the way for more and better comedy gigs in the years to come. Within a couple of years, I even landed paid week-long gigs at the Funny Bone as the opening act and MC. And it all happened a lot faster than if I had continued to wallow in the mental quicksand of helpless victim syndrome mode. Bottom line, to build a DIY career, don't get stuck in the muck of what is and what's wrong. Instead, ask what circumstance you really want. Then use your imagination to ponder the many possible ways you can get it. Okay, there you have it, a little section from the audiobook version of my book called The DIY Career Manifesto. It's also available in an ebook form, but you can get that in the audio version on Amazon, on audible.com, even in the iTunes store, and the ebook is available on Amazon. Again, I'll have a link to it in the show notes, so feel free to click that and check it out if it strikes you as something that could be helpful. And I'll also remind you one final time about the two items I mentioned at the top of the show, and that is the new book called The Empowered Artist, currently available for pre-order on Amazon. It officially publishes on April 21st. All right, thanks for listening. I appreciate you. This is Bob Baker saying so long for now.